I've got some guests arriving later today, and rather than putting food out for a sit-down meal, I want to put out finger food so that we can just graze at the table at will. It'll be a more relaxed afternoon. So what I want to make, among other things, is Spanakopita. This is a Greek dish. Normally you make it as a pie, where you put down layers of phyllo dough, you put the cheese and spinach filling in there, cover it with more phyllo dough, bake it, and then you carve it up when you're ready to serve it. I want to make individual pieces that people can just pick up with their fingers, like you see in the frozen food section at the warehouse store when they sell it frozen. I was watching a cooking video the other day on the YouTube, and this guy was trying to slice an onion, and he's as nervous, obviously, as I am about doing it the way the chefs do, because he got partway through it and then he stopped and changed his mind. So I want to show you, first of all, the way the chefs do it is they cut it in half. You leave your root end on, trim off the other end, and then they cut down through it in several places, and then they cut this way through it. Well, that gives me the heebie-jeebies because I don't like advancing a knife toward my fingers, especially when my knives are so sharp. So I quarter the onion, and then just like the chefs, I'll cut down through it. You don't want to cut all the way to the end. That root is what holds it together. Then flip it 90 degrees. And see, you're moving the knife down, then you don't have to worry about your fingers. Then go down through the onion. To chop it. That to me is a much safer way. And there it is. Chopped onions. The green onions, of course, are a lot easier. Okay, that pretty much gets this where I want it. That's it. Here's my green onions chopped. And they're rolling all over the kitchen. Okay, now I'm ready to start sauteing things. I'm heating a skillet on the stove. There's my olive oil, about 3 tablespoons-ish. This, by the way, is a wine bottle. That's a wine cork, and that is a cabinet knob and a stainless steel screw. Nice, huh? Okay. My onion in there. These have to saute until they're tender and translucent. Maybe even they start to change color a little bit. I want them really soft. So that'll be about 5, I might go even 7 to 8 minutes on this to get those a little bit caramelized, but not too much. So those have taken on a slightly golden color. I don't know if I would call those caramelized or not, but just slightly colored. I'm going to put my green onions in there and start crushing in my garlic. All right, there's my garlic in there. And now I'm going to cook that for an additional minute just to get the green onions softened and the garlic cooked a little bit. All right, so that has cooked an additional minute. Put my parsley in there. And a little bit of water because I want to steam the spinach. Okay, I'm going to pile my spinach in here. I'm using my large skillet, and that there is 1 pound. I have to get 2 pounds in there. Okay, so I'm going to cover that and let that steam for about a minute. It took about 2 minutes to wilt that down enough I should be able to force the rest of this in there. And again, I'm going to cover that and let that go for at least 2 minutes. Okay, this has been going for two more minutes. I am going to get in here and just turn this over. So that it'll cook a little bit more evenly. All right, that's just about there. 1 more minute should do it. Ah, nicely wilted. All right, so I'm going to turn that heat off. Then I'm going to let this cool down a little bit because I do have to chop this spinach up. Right now it's a little bit too hot to handle. And then I'll be ready to start mixing in the cheese. I am going to want to drain that too. As you can see, there's liquid in there. My spinach has dried enough, or cooled enough rather, so that I can handle it comfortably. I put it on paper towels and I'm going to press it down with more paper towel and see if I can draw off some of this moisture. I don't want my filling too wet. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for a little bit while I mix up. I crumbled my feta cheese. I'm going to mix my cheese and my eggs next while I'm letting this sit on the side to finish draining a little bit. I put my ricotta in there and my feta that I've crumbled. And put a couple of eggs in there. Get this mixed up. Okay, I'm content with that. Now I want to chop my spinach. Here is my spinach. And I just want to chop this up a little bit. That'll help it to break up better. And then I'm just going to use my scoop here to scoop this right into the bowl that has the cheese in it. Okay. So now I'm ready to combine all this. Okay. And then I want to taste this for salt and pepper. Get out my red-handled tasting spoon. Definitely going to need some salt and pepper. I'm going to put in maybe half a teaspoon. And grind some pepper in there. Take a bit of this out. Yes, much nicer. That's fine. Okay, now I'm ready to start filling my Spanakopita. Got a little bowl here. I'm going to put maybe half a cup of extra virgin olive oil in there. I can always add more if I need to. I've got a pastry brush ready. And this is my phyllo dough. You buy this frozen and then you thaw it in the refrigerator, and hopefully it's nice and moist, which it is. Take that extra off. I want to lay down a single sheet of phyllo dough. Brush it lightly with olive oil. If I brush across it, it's in this direction, it's much less likely to tear. You can see already there's a little bit of a tear there. the grain runs this way. And if I brush it this way, I could possibly tear it. I'm going to do two shapes here. I'm going to do a triangle and rectangles. That might be a bit too much. Okay, I want to enclose this way, like so. And then roll my triangle. Make sure that final edge is oiled. And there is a triangle, Spanakopita. Getting another sheet here. Once again, spreading this lightly with olive oil. This time I'm going to make a little rectangle. So put the filling on the edge like that. Once it starts to dry out, it cracks very easily. And there is a little rectangular Spanakopita. So that's what I'm working on. I need to roll all my others, and then I'll be ready to bake these. I am in the meantime heating my oven to 350 degrees. I want to show you a couple of things. Here's one of the trays. I lined a cookie sheet, baking sheet with parchment paper. This sheet is full, the other one's about half full. I got 25 Spanakopita out of all that mixture. And then what I want to show you is this. Here in Southern California, we have very dry conditions right now. We have a Santa Ana wind coming in off the mountains. In fact, in LA, it's been blowing so hard, it's been knocking trees down. They've had 90-mile-an-hour winds down there. It hasn't been bad up here. But still, the humidity is only about 20%, which is dry. This would dry out so quickly if I didn't keep it covered. So I took a piece of fabric that I had in the cupboard and I moistened it with water, and I kept this over the phyllo dough while I was shaping one piece, and then I'd take this off, peel a piece off. You can see it's kept it very moist and easy to separate. So if you live in very dry conditions, that's one way to protect your phyllo dough from drying out, so you can continue to work with it. My Spanakopita has to bake in a 350 degree oven, which is 175 degrees centigrade, for 30 to 40 minutes until it's golden brown on the outside, and then it'll be ready to serve. All right, here they are, fresh out of the oven. Those were in there, let's see, I put them in for 40 minutes. I had 2 in the oven, so after 20 minutes, I switched them so that they could all brown evenly. I'm going to let these cool a little bit. And then the last step, of course, is to see how good they taste. Okay, here it is. These have had about 5 minutes to cool down a little bit. Oh. Okay. That is exactly what I would expect a Spanakopita to taste like. You can taste the spinach, you can taste the cheese. It's not a real strong savory flavor. It's actually a very delicate, light flavor. These would be great to put out on a buffet like I'm planning to do. Excuse me, I gotta go enjoy eating my Spanakopita. For a printable PDF copy of this recipe with step-by-step photographs, visit my website, mobilehomegourmet.com, and look on the home page or in the recipe archive.